Good evening, everybody. So this is our first time Beats and Politics Live edition. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's going to be an interesting venture, I have to say myself. My name is Sarahia Benn. I'm the People's Champ. I'm about to push some heat through the streets. So please like our Facebook. We also have several other media on social media. So just like it all, please, please, please. It's also sponsored by this lovely hotel, RL. It is a little spot of heaven. And if you can find that in the city, that's a good thing. And SMB Music Group is also sponsoring it. Today's topics will be the upcoming Baltimore election, which is very important. And it's starting to look like the presidential election, because it's like, what, 48 targets or whatever? We're going to also talk about unions. We're going to talk about activism, Amber Geiger verdict, and we're going to talk about some other pop culture as we go on. So first thing, I just want to introduce a lovely man next to me, Mr. Jason MacLaurin. I think his name is Mark J. MacLaurin, but
That's right.
But you see, I only call him Jason. I don't know.
Everyone calls me Jason. My mom even calls me Mark Jason, so either one will fit.
That's good. So I'm going to give a little bit of understanding who he is. He's the director of the Political and Legislative Affairs for the SEIU Union. That's Service Employees International Union, the largest and fastest growing labor union in the country. Mark has been an advocate and activist for working class people for over 20 years, from serving as a landlord-tenant counselor at Baltimore Neighborhoods Incorporated, while in college serving in the 7th Congressional Director for United States Senator Barbara A. Mikulski, and Public Policy Director for Public Justice Center. A common thread is a core of commitment, fashioning strategies to make life easier for Baltimore's working class families. He's eager to join us here, and I'm sure he's been eager to do all the things that he has been doing. He also has chairs the Baltimore Police Commission, LGBTQ Advisory Commission, and serves as the Policy Committee of Gender Rights Maryland. So now I introduce my friend, Jason MacLaurin.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I am so excited to be here and so honored that you asked me to be here. I'm looking forward to chopping it up.
That's right. I mean, we chop it up on Facebook all the time, and you are a trip. I ain't gonna lie, you a trip. You be pissing some people off.
Me?
Yeah, little old you.
I'll have you know I was born in America's sweetheart 3 years running, so.
Well, let's get right into some good stuff. First thing, you're in the unions, and I kind of want a little understanding of the power structure, how they work, and if there isn't one that exists in your employment, say if you work at a big place and you want to start, how would you go about doing that?
Sure. So unions, I mean, obviously unions have been around since the beginning of time. It's basically workers banding together to have a say in the workplace. And you do that through unions. And so, like, I work for the Service Employees International Union, the largest union in the country, and I represent workers in the public school system. I represent home-based child care providers. I represent adjunct faculty in every single college in DC except for Catholic University. It's just to my everlasting shame because that's my alma mater. In Maryland colleges, MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art, McDaniel College, Goucher College. We represent the adjunct faculty there. We also represent workers in developmental disability group home workers. So I have a pretty motley crew of workers who belong to our union. But basically, belonging to a union is just a recognition that, you know, our overarching ethos at SEIU is stronger together. You know, and so the kind of founding rationale behind unions is that, quite frankly, there's an unequal power dynamic in just about any workplace between a boss and the employers. If you're a problem, I'll get rid of you and I'll have somebody else come in. If I belong to a union, you've got a whole other problem, because you can't mistreat an individual worker that belongs to the union, because the union is negotiating on behalf of all the workers. And so
that's pretty powerful. I mean, my nephew, believe it or not, he's in the union. I forget which one he's in. Sorry, it fails me, but he was actually, believe it or not, he got in because he was in federal prison. And had he not been able to be guided through a series of programs and be in a halfway house, he would have never, he probably doesn't want me to say this, but anyway, I did. But he's doing great right now. He's making more money than me. He's making $70 an hour, so excuse me.
Can I get $10?
Yes, I want $10.
Call me nephew.
So I was wondering, is there, right? Saying he's a car. So do they have those type of programs here in Maryland? Because the concern that I've seen, especially in Baltimore City, is that it seems like there is a lot of union workers that come in here, but they're from West Virginia, they're not necessarily from Maryland, and we have a whole bunch of people in Baltimore that would love to be employed, that are underemployed and unemployed. So.
Sure. Well, so I mean, I think when you think of out-of-state union members, you're talking about the buildings and construction trades. Like, a lot of those folks kind of come in on a job, they belong to the carpenters or to the IBW, the electrical workers, or the plumbers or the steam fitters, and they live in West Virginia, and they come in, do a contract job, and go out. But all of my members live in, well, 90% of my members live in Maryland. I think that probably 95% of SEIU members that are employed in Maryland live in Maryland, because, you know, like 1199, our sister union, they represent the workers at Johns Hopkins Hospital and at nursing homes across the city. My sister union, SEIU 32BJ, they represent building and janitorial services at buildings throughout the city. So, you know, like, we are home-based, but, you know, folks ask all the time, why would SEIU get so involved in death penalty repeal? Why would SEIU get so involved in marriage equality? Why would SEIU get so involved in a whole bunch of other initiatives? And my answer is always that because we as a union are concerned with more than just our workers' step increases and their own parochial kind of need to get paid, although that's important too. Yes. And for them to be treated in the workplace is important too. But to the extent that the criminal justice system disproportionately impacts young black men, those young black men are the kids of my members, you know what I mean? And yes. So I have a responsibility to be active and try to use the power of the union to be impactful on all issues that impact them, both in the workplace and outside of the workplace. And I think to the extent that we are able to spread that message to unions, they become more and more relevant, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. One last question about the unions. A lot of minority companies, they're small. Sometimes they don't even have enough members to probably create a union. But say if they do, or if they're able to, because I noticed there was a contractor from DC that wanted to do something down here, and he had like about 100 employees. How would they go about it, or is it not a good thing? Is there sometimes that a union's not good for a business?
You will never get a union political director to tell you that a union is not good for a business. I don't care what business it is.
Amen.
But I genuinely believe that, I mean, we represent workers at DC nonprofits like Media Matters and Planned Parenthood and Ralph Nader's organization, the Public Citizen, and a whole group of those. And so we have workplaces that are small as, 8 or 10 workers. And we have workplaces that are like Montgomery County Public Schools, which have, 10,000 workers. So I would suggest that anyone that's interested in forming a union, get in touch with one of the unions that are here, whether it's SEIU, you can call me, I'll give you my information, but, not just me, there are folks around here that are doing the work. There's United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW, there's Unite Here that represents all the folks at Horseshoe Casino and at some of the hotels around the city. And so it really depends on what industry that you're in as to what union you normally would belong to, because we don't step on each other's toes, and I'm not going to go after a hotel because
Right.
United Here represents hotels.
That's right. That's
you know.
right. What about the musicians union? I know there is one.
Yes.
Because I'm a musician, and I
Yes.
used to be, believe it or not, I used to be a part of the union when I lived in LA. But I came out here, and I'll be honest with you,
Wow, wow. Yeah, so I don't know. I know that, I'm trying to remember. I know that recently the BSO folks, when that
Yes.
happened, like,
I was
that was
glad
the,
for them.
yes, but
They need to get
they
paid.
formed a union, you know what I mean? And what happened there was that instead of getting rid of individual players, the union was able to stand in and advocate not only within the workplace, but the power of the union is that we amass, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, we amass political power that we then expend on our members' behalf. So when the union calls Maggie McIntosh and says, you gotta help these folks,
She
when the
better.
union calls, Mayor Jack Young or whoever else, not Jack Young,
I know.
somebody else, when the union calls an effective politician and wants their help, I'd like to think that I get my calls returned before the average one of my members does, and that's because, quite frankly, of the amassed power of my membership. I remind every politician, when I write you a check out of our treasury, that's money that my workers gave me from scrubbing toilets and from changing bedpans, and so I hold you responsible for that. But from the workers coming together and giving that.
Your cord, just push the cord up because it just sounds like it kind of. There you go.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go. In fact, I'll take the mad one. Take the
No. So I said that to say, belonging to a union not only increases your power, I would argue, within the workplace, but outside of the workplace, because we have, when I make a call to Jack Young or Brandon Scott or Shannon Sneed or anyone else, I get a call back, not because I'm so fabulous, although I think I'm kind
Oh,
of
you're very fabulous. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Don't say you're not.
Oh, stop.
Snap.
But not because of who I am, but because they recognize that at the drop of a hat, I can write a $6,000 check and I can have 50 people on the doors next Saturday. You know what I mean? And so that's all the collective power.
You need to create a door knock union. I like that. I ain't even gonna lie. So now we're gonna move into, by the way, I learned some valuable information from here. Even though, believe it or not, my uncle was in the union when they had Bethlehem Steel,
Yes.
and they used to have Peach Bottom, which was a reactor in Pennsylvania. So
That's the untold story, honestly,
Yeah.
is that unions built the black middle class.
It
Make
did.
no mistake about it. The Social Security Administration, folks have sent their kids to college as AFG members, and AFG stepped in at Social Security and made sure all those GS4, GS6, GS8, GS10, going all the way up, those are folks that are in unions,
Yeah.
and so.
And I agree with you. So unfortunately, we need to probably do a little bit more, and we have to get our legislators on that board. But if we can't get them on the board, what are we going to do? We're going to get new ones.
Get them out.
We're going to get them out. So we're now going to talk about Baltimore City's mayoral race, which, by the way, is. Wait a second. Wait a second. Ding, 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 ding. We have in the ring at a dripping wet 160 pounds, Brandon M. Scott. And we have Stokey Kennedy, the empty, whatever. So, that's what it seems like. It seems like it is like a blowout, like a battle royale or something here. So let me just list some of the declared candidates. Now,
Sure.
The funny thing is that a lot of people are campaigning, but they're really not even declared. So we got Carmichael Stokey Kennedy, who's an anti-violence activist and mediator. Lou Catelli, who's the unofficial mayor of Hampton.
Next.
Because I don't know who he is. Lynn Sherwood Harris, former president of Sandtown Winchester Improvement Association. Ralph E. Johnson Jr., author. James Hughes Jones II, 2018 Democratic gubernatorial candidate. You see, I can't read without my glass. I don't even know why I'm playing like this. Because I can't see.
Right?
And let's see here. Dante Swinton, environmental justice researcher and community organizer. Thiru Vignaraja, he ran in the city the last time. Yes, he's not Ivan, is he? Okay, I ain't gonna get no shots. Ricky Vaughn, who ran in the U.S. Senate as a U.S. Senate candidate, and Frederick Ware Newsom, who is a perennial candidate. Do you know what perennial means?
Perennial is they They run every single time and never win.
Yeah. I know a few in Hartford County. Anyway. And then we have a whole bunch of potential candidates, which I'm not going to list off because, truth be told, I want you to just say what you think.
Sure.
But there are some Republican candidates. Catalina Bird, who I do know. And so she's Baltimore. I mean, it is what it is.
I love her. She's got about as much shot as I do, and I'm not running with it.
Right. I mean, when you're talking about votes registered, we're talking about in a city where there's 10 Democrats for every one. Sort of like Hartford County in certain areas, right? And then Shannon Wright, who's a former pastor, but she also has been on a Roland show, Martin show, or is it Martin? Yeah, something like that. I'd be thinking crazy stuff. And then people were, you declined. Yeah, Benn jealous. So what do you think about that? Yeah, I'm gonna slip it to you.
Benn is a dear friend of mine, and I think that Benn rightly made the calculation that this was not his year. And I think, I think that was a smart decision.
It was smart. Yeah, I kind of think so, because when you go through a campaign, because I've actually ran a campaign, and I can just tell you for myself, it is very grueling. And the truth is, even in October 2019, I still feel like I'm in a campaign.
Yes.
I'm still running. Yeah. I'm still dealing with enemies and all this other crazy stuff. And I'm like, wait a sec. It's not supposed to be that way. So I agree. I think he does need to take a break. And then I think Shannon Steve, isn't she running for president?
City council president, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think of her chances?
I like Shannon. I mean, I think that she is, she's a progressive candidate. Look, full disclosure, I'm not going to act like I'm unbiased when it comes to Shannon. SEIU 500 was the one union that stood with Shannon back in 2011 when she ran against Warren Branch, and nobody thought she could win. We got within 40 votes of throwing out the incumbent, and she turned around and ran a write-in campaign. Unheard of. A write-in campaign in this city. And she came within 38 votes of beating him in the general election on a write-in campaign. That's when I knew she was special. So she came back in 2016 and won. And so I've had a need for Sneed for 10 years. So I'm not going to pretend to be unbiased. But I also think that she has a lot to recommend her. I think that there's a good chance that she's going to be the only woman in the race. I think that there's a good chance that she's going to be the only, this city is a parochial city. East Side, West Side. She's the only East Side candidate in the race against two male West Siders. I think she's going to have a lot of support from progressive organizations and for unions. Look, it's anybody's game. If Nick Mosby gets in, he's got the Mosby name, and I certainly don't detract from anything that Nick has done. Nick has also been a champion on a lot of issues that are important to us.
So Nick is in the race now. Yeah. Oh, Lord. I didn't know that. Yeah. Okay, he went down from delegate. They cleaned an house out of there. Wasn't he a delegate?
Well, yes, he's a delegate now, but it's, if you're in state office, it's a free shot to run for city office, because you can keep your seat because you don't have to do that until 2022, so why not run for the city council president?
That's true, and I believe that the power is probably more concentrated here, and it's probably more personal to him. Nothing against Annapolis, but Annapolis got a lot of, well,
I mean, the difference between being a city council president, there's only one city council president,
That's
and
true.
being one of, 12 or 14 delegates in Baltimore City, where, you gotta go to Annapolis and ask the speaker if you're allowed to go to the bathroom. I would run for city council president too. I ain't mad at him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's certain things that are good and bad about the whole situation. So far as the ones that are in the race for mayor, who do you think has the best chance of winning? It's not about who you, now don't get me wrong, you tell me who you favor, but you can also tell me who you really think has a chance. Because I've actually talked to some of the candidates. I talked to Dante Swinton, and I've kind of given him some advice. I told him, he has to be a little bit more serious about it. Because, if you're going to run as a progressive candidate, and this is the problem with progressive candidates, let's just be real. Problem is, we come in, we want to be, we walk to a different drum, right? But the problem is, we don't come looking like we belong there. We look like we're in the 1960s, ready to be a flower-powered child. And I'm not saying that to be mean. And I think I have that problem, because I got homo issues too. You know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is. I gave him some pointers because I want to see him give his best chance because he probably is perhaps the only progressive that's running. Now I don't know if he's gonna win, but I just you see, he didn't told you.
Well, you honestly in a citywide race, and as much as I hate to say this because look, I'm an activist, I'm from the streets, I'm all about people power, but if you can't raise $500,000, you're not gonna be the next mayor of this city.
Yes.
That's just the truth. Because
could you say that again? Because
you cannot
this is going to help candidates that are running.
If you, Dante, Ralph, I'm talking to you. I love you dearly. You may want to look at Central Committee or perhaps a delegates race in 2022. If you cannot show me where you can raise $500,000, you are not going to be the next mayor of this city. And I don't say that with any zeal or glee. I don't think it should be about money. But at the end of the day, you've got a city where, there's those of us who pay attention to politics and are really interested in politics and we follow the candidates and we'll come to a candidate's forum. But that's like 5% of us. The other 95% of us are too busy, taking care of our kids, going to work, going home. And so if you can't get in my mailbox and you can't get on my TV, and you don't have a field campaign, you're not going to be elected mayor. It's just the truth. So, I'm glad that folks are running and hopefully they bring issues to the fore, that they make the front runners address. But the next mayor of this city is going to be one of 5 people.
Okay. One.
Jack Young.
Jack Young. He's not in the race yet.
Yeah, he will be.
But Slick Jack Young with the jab, right?
Yeah.
Because he has our kids in, what is it, Royal Farms?
Yeah, I don't think he has a jab left anymore. But okay. Jack Young, Brandon Scott.
Okay.
T.J. Smith.
T.J. Smith, okay.
I'm going to zing one on you. Senator Mary Washington.
Whoa, whoa. You didn't call my senator out now. Don't be talking about my senator like that now.
What?
I'm just saying, she really going to come back?
She is.
Because I know a lot of people want her to.
Yes, I think she is very strongly considered.
Wow.
And I think she would, quite frankly, be a game changer in many respects.
She would.
Yeah. And the 5th one is, it's still Baltimore. You can't leave out Sheila Ann Dixon.
Ooh,
it's
yes.
Going to be one of those 5. You heard it here first.
That's right.
One of those 5 will be the next mayor of this city.
And I agree. Do you think that if Sheila gets in, she's the front runner?
No.
No? You don't?
No. Sheila's problem is that she has a certain block of voters that will march through snow, sleet, hail, and rain for her. Mm-hmm. And that's maybe 25%.
Okay.
And then she's probably got 70% of the city that wouldn't vote for her if she was running against Donald Trump. And so the context here, though, is that in many respects, Sheila would have had a better chance if what had happened to Catherine Pugh had not happened to Catherine Pugh. But this city, after having endured the trauma of an ethically challenged mayor having to resign, the city is not going to turn its eyes to the last person that they had to throw out for corruption. It's the wrong context for her. But of course, look, I like Sheila personally, and she has suffered from many things in her life, but a low self-esteem or a low opinion of herself has never been one of them. And so she'll probably run again because she thinks, she's got folks that love her, and I care for her personally, but...
30% is a hard base. You talk about 5 people, she got 30%, sounds like a win to me almost.
Well,
and I say almost, because you're right, you can't bank on everybody.
What's going to happen is that, this is the same thing that happened 4 years ago, is that all these people run, and then the city starts looking around and realizing, if we don't center on one candidate, Sheila's going to win, okay? So everyone, that's how Catherine, look, I was chief strategist for Catherine Pugh's campaign 4 years ago.
Wow.
God forgive me.
I gotta forgive you, Jason. No, I'm just joking. Guess what?
She's been a family friend. She came to my high school graduation. She was my mother's board chairman. I've known her for probably 30 years. And so I don't excuse anything she does. But one thing I will say is that woman loved this city.
She did.
And she was, she's wrong as 2 left shoes for whatever, I wasn't involved in any of that. But she is someone that loves this city, and so I'm proud of the work that I did to elect her. But I'll tell you what happened in the last month or so, all of Embry's voters, all of Warnock's voters, all of Nick Mosby's voters, all the voters who were going to vote for anyone else looked around and said, Catherine's the only one that can stop Sheila.
Right.
And so then they went with Catherine, and that's how she won. That'll happen to Sheila again. She doesn't realize it. But, you know, if it looks like Sheila's going to win, folks will start peeling off of the other ones and go to the person that they think.
They won't do a Missouri where they just stay in the race and don't care and whatever.
Well, they stay in the race, but their vote totals. I mean, Elizabeth Embry was devastated. She was sure she was second or third. She was more, you know, because what happened was her voters went to the polls and said, a vote for Elizabeth Embry is a vote for Sheila Dixon, and I'm not willing to elect Sheila Dixon, so I'll go with Peter.
Right. And by the way, I did like Catherine here. We were actually in the process of doing a census PSA, so I actually, to be honest with you, I was actually kind of disheartened with some of the things that came out. I'm still going to be doing some with the Deltas, but because she is a Delta, by the way. Oh, really? Yeah. So, you know, the thing about it, I look at it this way, people do make mistakes, and one thing I will say that was good about her, and I don't care what anybody says, she was about Baltimore in the sense of, you had to live here. And she didn't believe that you could just come in here and do any old thing that you wanted to do, and then leave this area and take all the resources. So, if anything, people should learn that from her. If we learn nothing else, learn that from her. And I hope Godspeed, peace and blessings to her, because a lot of people, you know, we joke on the internet. Let's be real. We cut people to shreds on the internet. I mean, we go in on the internet. And then, but you know, these are people, and they do have feelings. And so, I'm not saying I'm giving her a pity party, but anybody else, even in the situation in the district that I ran in, you know, I got the M-word delegate. You know, yeah, I know. Yeah. You know, she's still smiling. You know, nothing's changed for her because in her mind she didn't get penalized, but she should have gotten penalized in the same manner of Pew and some of the other ones, games that just resigned. I mean, and that one was a shocker for me out of the blue.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, I didn't see that as well.
But see, she did something. I mean, for me at least, I differentiate. Maybe I shouldn't, but I differentiate between like, you know, like bribery, like you were doing something underhanded.
Right.
Tawana just did something stupid. You know, she had a campaign account and she was, you know, buying herself stuff out of it. But like, it wasn't like, nobody like stuck her, you know, $10,000 in a paper bag under a toilet like Will Campos or Michael Vaughn in Prince George's County. Oops. It wasn't that, oh, did I do that? Well, he's in jail, he can't get me there.
Kick him in the knees.
That's right. Stick him in the mood.
That's right.
But so yeah, so I, you know, like Tawana, it's, you know, it's sad that happened to her and then her. And look, I mean, one thing I say is, as much as I joke and as irreverent as I am because I'm always around these elected officials, I am always uber cognizant that these are human beings. I have to tell you, Catherine Elizabeth Pugh, her lifelong dream was to be the mayor of this city. I mean, she ran for it once before, but since I was in high school, all Catherine ever wanted to be was mayor. She ran for delegate, she was on the city council, but she only ever wanted to be mayor. And so to see her finally achieve her dream and to have it, you know, through her own, mostly her own fault, take away from her, it's just on a personal level. It's heartbreaking. Whether she was good or bad, right or wrong, it really is just difficult as a human being to see another human being finally achieve what they had worked. I mean, people forget because she runs marathons. Catherine Pugh is 70 years old. You know what I mean? Like, she worked all her life to get to this one place, and she got there, and it slipped through her fingers.
And unfortunately, there was people who were higher than her that are still in office. I want to say the M&M crew. Everybody knows who the M&M crew is at the state level. They're still operating. Trust me, they're the ones that are doing a whole lot of stuff. That's why the one went out fast, and the other one is about to go out. Well, oh well. So, I got a couple little fast hits. I don't know if you even know about these pop culture facts. This is completely different, I know it. It's like just to test what you know.
Keep me on my feet.
I know, keep you on your feet. So, Isaiah Washington, the black actor, you know, he's a Trumper. And you know what? The funny thing about black Trumpers, I got a couple more on my page, and they love to troll my page, and I love to talk trash back. So the long story short, he just recently said that he's done more work than Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman.
I saw that.
What's going on with this dude, man? What the heck is going on? Mother Moses lived to like 91, man. This dude has done what, man? Has he even created an actor? Has he even, mentored anybody? What has he done?
No. Well, the kind of overwhelming cognitive dissonance that has to be in your brain to be an African-American man who supports Donald Trump. I think you could believe anything. I honestly believe that if you could peel his scalp back, he probably does believe deep down that he's done more for black folks than Harriet Tubman. But he's, he's not well. I don't like to pick on sick folks, but he is not
let's
well.
pick on another one.
Yes.
The Kardashians, Kanye West. Hallelujah.
Here's another sick one.
He got upset.
He's
got upset. He got upset because he had his church, right? A couple of weeks ago.
It was at Jamal Bryant's church. It was from here.
Oh,
this
really?
This is the other. Now let me tell you about that. Now pop culture, I got your pop culture. Jamal Bryant, who was pastor of a huge church up here, he's the son of the A&E Bishop John Bryant. Was like the heir apparent to black royalty in this city, in many respects. Had a church up here. He got recruited to go down and take over the mega church that was run by a man by the name of Reverend Eddie Long.
Eddie Long.
Okay?
Mr. Muscles.
Yes. Now, Eddie Long, who died in sickness and in shame because he was a sexual predator, that even though he was married, he was sleeping with all the boys in the church.
Big time.
And so,
while preaching hell and fire from that pulpit, so hard.
Attacking the LGBT community every chance he got, but then going home and messing with the boys with the altos on the youth choir.
Yes.
Paying
off settlements.
But they haven't. This is what we as and this is a black folks conversation. I understand that, but we as black folks, we have got to get better. We have a way of overlooking things. I mean, I was on Facebook arguing with this woman who said, well, nobody can judge Eddie Long, and nobody's been in where he, and I said, what if that was your kid?
Right.
We have this way of, we've been doing this in our families forever. The uncle was touching her for years and years, and you just acted like, you didn't see her, you didn't, and when it's your pastor, for Christ's sake. I mean, this guy's got a mega church with 2 helicopters, You got 70-year-old women on Social Security tithing 10% every month. This guy who's diddling kids, all in the name of God. I don't want. You can keep that God. I don't want any of that. So I said that to say, Jamal went down there and took over the church, and then Kanye comes to service, which is supposed to be this big deal. But now Kanye, who is a multi-millionaire, shows up to church, and I mean, look, I'm no fashion maven, but he had on the dirtiest, greasiest sweatpants in the world, like in church, really? There's a certain amount of respect, that there's some churches that, are come as you are, but New Birth is not one of them.
It's definitely not. That's
a level of disrespect.
You got your stuff, tailored and everything.
Yes.
You come in like Rolls Royces, and even if you're renting and leasing that stuff, man.
Jamal Bryant's pants be so tight if he sneezed, he pass out.
What about the ATM in the back of the church?
Yeah, absolutely.
He went down there, and now he wants to be a star. I think Jamal Bryant.
Yes.
You think he's messing with the girl that's on the Real Housewives of the Potomac?
No, that's his wife.
Oh, that's
how she got on there in the first place.
Oh, darn.
This is the other thing. He married her, and he was screwing everything that moved, and had 3 or 4 kids on her with members of his church, which everyone's supposed to overlook because God is good.
All the time.
And so then she's only cast as the Real Housewives of Potomac because she was married to him. Nobody knew who the hell she was.
I still don't.
Now it's dating her again. Now they're dating again. They're reunited. This is
after a baby, I think, isn't it?
This is baby number, 3 or 4. Like, they have 2, but Jamal's got 3 or 4 kids running around Baltimore, and he's got one in California that he's been sued for not paying child support on. I mean, I just don't understand how you can, with any shred of dignity, stand before a congregation, present yourself as a man of God, and you don't take care of your children. That's just a basic thing. Yes.
It's called pimping.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm pimping. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know, right? I wouldn't set it up, but tonight I'm a one-person crew. That the next time you come, we're gonna have some beats and drums in here. We're gonna really do it and everything. So one last pop culture thing. Back in March 2019, there was an interaction with our Representative Cummings and Mark Meadows, where Rashida Tlaib was talking about how that Trump was a racist, right? Or at least in her belief, she believed his actions were racist. And then Mark Meadows carts this woman out, and I forget what her name, Lynn Patton, I think it is, carts her out, and I call it Exhibit B, my black friend. This is a standard thing that people go to. I think Elijah was very, very dignified, but in some respect, why do we always have to be the dignified person? That's the part. Maybe I'm just angry and I'm tired and I just don't want to take it no more. But I'm just saying, why do we always have to be dignified? And Mark Meadows is just looking up there like a deer in the headlights, talking about like, well, I'm not a racist and I've never been racist and I'm never going to be racist. First thing, if you're not something, you ain't doing nothing anyway.
Yeah.
So
every one of my coloreds will tell you I treat them very well, very, very well.
That's right.
It's not a problem here, not a problem at all. In fact, come on out of here, gal. She types for me. Tell them how good I am to you. That kind of stuff is just, it's embarrassing. But like this is the overwhelming kind of ethos of the Republican Party. This is what Trump has visited on them. This makes this okay. It would have been embarrassing even 5 years ago. But it's kind of come back into vogue now.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna wrap up your section, but you're gonna come back. Trust me, you're gonna come back at the end. We're gonna do a round robin. But I'm gonna bring Miss Delane up here. I'm gonna give a little intro. First thing, let's give a hand for Mr. Jason. Mark Jason Mark. One thing for sure, Mark. And no, keep it running. It's okay. I got enough time. So I'm gonna give it a quick introduction. She's a real estate broker who decided she was sick and tired, and she couldn't take it no more. So she decided to help form a chapter of Together We Will in late 2015 going into early 2016. And as a first energizer, she decided to organize this DC trip to the Women's March. Much of TWW's work has been around the education piece, considering the racist incident that was in Bel Air High School. Now, Bel Air High School is in Hartford County. Now, I know a lot of y'all laugh because people like me live there. And I get it, and I understand, because they're like, how can you want to stay there? But I'm going to give you a quick little background. We live there because we got roots there, whatever it is. And so simply, we are now trying to create an activist core ourselves. Delane and TWW received the NAACP 2018 Community Activist Award. And I'd like to introduce the lovely lady and a good friend, Miss Delane Lewis. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. And she was all nervous. See, just
and then you asked me to follow him.
no. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. I know he knows it because we be on Facebook going at it. So I would never answer that. We're gonna let you speak about what you do, because in every show that I'm gonna do is I want it to be about activists. Because I don't think people in our area are really aware that there are people out here fighting for them and could use some help, and people that really care sincerely. And so part of the reason why I wanted to bring you on, because I live in Hartford County, so even though I'm in Baltimore and I do a lot of work in Baltimore, I do still care about my area. And so I really am impressed by you. Not just because you're a friend, but because you took something from nothing.
That's it.
Wait a second, the party's on. Hello. Party. Here we go. I guess we're gonna pause it out. Okay. Well, that was fun.
Jack, I take it back.
I know. Do we have to leave? Okay, we do. We gotta cut it right here. So we'll start when we come back.
no, that's you, Pro.
Thank you. We're gonna start doing it every